Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unlocking a literal superpower, social adaptability. We're going to look at exactly how to nail every single first impression you ever make. We introduce ourselves practically every single day, right? But somehow, it's still something so many of us stumble through or overthink. Well, today, we're breaking down the actual science of the self-introduction. We're taking that anxiety-inducing moment and turning it into a structured, highly adaptable skill that you can just pull out of your back pocket anytime.
So let's start off with a pretty crucial question. Would you use the exact same words to introduce yourself to your best friend, your teacher, and a job interviewer? Really think about that for a second. If you walked into a high-stakes job interview and greeted the hiring manager exactly the same way you greet your best friend on a Saturday afternoon, yeah, things probably wouldn't end too well for your career prospects, right? Let's dive right into why this matters, because this perfectly illustrates the agonizing awkwardness of a mismatched introduction. Imagine walking into your school principal's office and just dropping a casual "what's up?" No way, right? Now, contrast that with logging into a gaming group with your buddies and typing, "I am honored to be here today." It's incredibly jarring. The words themselves aren't technically wrong, but using them in those specific situations, totally inappropriate. Because look, if you bring the wrong energy to the wrong setting, you are guaranteed to get this exact baffled reaction, just a giant "really?" written all over their faces. It's that exact mix of surprise, confusion, and let's be honest, maybe a little bit of judgment. You can literally almost hear the crickets chirping in the background. We've all been there, and it's exactly the kind of social friction we want to completely eliminate from our lives. To avoid that friction, we need to look at section 1, audience, purpose, and context. These are the 3 pillars of adaptability. Okay, so first up is audience. Who exactly are you speaking to? Your audience can range wildly, from a close friend to a school principal, an online gaming group, or a job interviewer. How you speak simply must fundamentally change depending on who is on the receiving end. You're dynamically adjusting your level of respect, your familiarity, and your formality simply based on the identity of the person standing or, sitting on a screen right in front of you. Second is your purpose. This matters because your introduction should naturally shift based on what you're actually trying to achieve in that specific moment. Like, why are you introducing yourself? Are you trying to seem approachable so you can make new friends? Are you trying to join a club, apply for a job, or are you just participating in a webinar? That underlying goal literally dictates the information you choose to share and exactly how you present it to them. And the third pillar is context, because the environment itself changes all the rules. Just look at the contrast here. Introducing yourself in a casual classroom setting requires a totally different level of formality than an online job interview. Even if your ultimate purpose is to impress people in both situations, the physical or digital space you occupy, your context absolutely demands that you adapt. Which brings us perfectly to section 2, mastering language and tone. These are your actual tools for adaptation. Notice how clearly you can feel the shift from casual to formal just by looking at John's 2 options here. On the left, it's short, it's punchy, he's sharing personal hobbies like basketball and video games. But on the right, he uses his full name, a traditional good morning, and a very polite closing. John is performing the exact same action, introducing himself, but he's using entirely different linguistic tools to get the job done. So the absolutely crucial point here is that language refers to your literal word choices. It's the actual specific vocabulary and expressions you select to communicate. Think of this as your toolkit. The words you pull from this toolkit have to be consciously adjusted for your audience and your purpose. I mean, you wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, right? And you definitely shouldn't use informal slang to address a hiring manager. Let's imagine these spoken out loud for a second. On the left, "Hey, nice to meet you." And on the right, "Good afternoon, it is a pleasure to meet you." You hear the difference, right? One sounds instantly friendlier and super approachable, while the other sounds distinctly more professional and a bit more reserved. It's the exact same sentiment, but that specific choice of language entirely flips the vibe of the introduction. Now, that underlying vibe or feeling, that is what we call tone. If language is the lyrics to your introduction, tone is the music. It's the attitude or feeling expressed in your communication. It's the secret ingredient that colors your words with the right level of respect, confidence, or casualness. You can have a friendly tone, a formal tone, a confident tone. Tone is literally what brings those words on the page to life. Let's test this out rapidly. Read through these 4 bullet points from Carla. Okay, you can easily spot that the second option, good morning, I am Carla Reyes, and the fourth option, it is my pleasure to introduce myself, are the formal ones. Boom, just like that. You didn't even have to think hard about it, did you? We instinctively recognize this simply based on the specific language she chose and the implied professional tone those words carry. Angela does a fantastic job here demonstrating how easily you can swap your tone, basically like a chameleon, depending on who's listening. If she needs to be formal, she uses her full name and says, good morning. If she wants to be friendly, it's just a bright, hi, I'm Angela. If her purpose is landing a job, she dials up that confident tone, focusing on her skills. And if she's just hanging out, she slips right into a casual, hey guys, what's up? It is all about intentional adaptation. All right, let's put it all together in Section 3, Building Your Introduction. This is your actionable framework.
Here's the secret. Every single effective self-introduction relies on a super simple 3-step structure. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're at a backyard barbecue or a corporate boardroom, the structure is always the same. Step 1, the beginning, where you state your name. Step 2, the middle, where you share relevant information tailored to that context. And Step 3, the end, where you wrap it up by expressing a goal, an interest, or just a polite closing statement.
To make this foolproof, you can use this exact template right here as your baseline. Good morning. My name is blank. I am from blank. I enjoy blank. I am excited to blank. It hits the beginning, middle, and end perfectly. And the absolute best part, once you have this framework, you just swap out the specific words to match the formality of your setting. So you might upgrade I enjoy to my background is in if you need to be way more professional. So whether you're walking into a high-pressure scholarship interview, logging into an online class, heading to a club orientation, or just showing up for the very first day of school, you now have the tools to adapt. You know to assess the environment, figure out exactly who is listening, determine what your goal is, and then carefully select the language and tone that will make the absolute best impression. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, vital thought to ensure you never have an awkward intro again. The very next time you find yourself about to speak and introduce who you are, take a split second to pause. Ask yourself, who exactly is my audience, and what is my true purpose here? Master that, and you will absolutely own every room you walk into. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.